One of the main issues with the previous Galaxy Z Fold phones was battery life. They gave you a smaller battery capacity, at least when compared to other flagships, with a larger display, which is always a recipe for bad battery life. Well, the Z Fold 4 looks to hopefully change that. And it's not because it has a larger battery capacity, it actually has the same battery capacity as last year's Fold 3. But it's because the new Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 processor inside promises better battery efficiency. So let's test that out. This is my complete day with the Galaxy Z Fold 4, and this is how it did when it comes to battery performance. Just for full transparency, I use the Galaxy Z Fold 4 with all of its basic features enabled, like adaptive refresh rate for the inner display, 5G was enabled. I did remove adaptive brightness because I like to have control, or at least complete control of my display brightness. And this test was taken a few days after receiving my Z Fold 4. That way the phone had enough time to adapt to my usage. Performance profile was also set to standard, and power saving was never set to on during this test. So I took the Galaxy Z Fold 4 off the charger at 7:33 a.m. and it had 100% battery, fully charged and ready to go. I used the phone as I normally would, check some emails, watch some videos, and more. About 2 hours later, my battery percentage was down to 89%, and I had over an hour of screen on time. So not bad, especially when you consider I made an effort to use that larger inner display for most of that screen on time. I'm sure if you utilize the smaller cover screen, it would result in better battery life. And I'm sure most of the tasks you do with your phone on a daily basis, like messaging or quickly checking emails, you're probably going to use that cover screen. And I know because I actually use the cover screen more than I thought I would. It's just easier to use that cover screen to get those quick tasks done. But for the last 2 hours, I really tried to use that larger inner display. So another 2 hours and 20 minutes went by, and now I'm at 64% battery. But for those previous 2 hours, I could say I really used this phone. I was testing the camera, I was reading, I even tested some mobile games on this phone to see how they performed, and now I'm at 3 hours and 13 minutes of screen on time. Now, one thing I did want to mention while testing the camera, I thought it was awesome to be able to use the main camera to take selfies. You just bring up the camera on your cover screen. You can see there at the top left it says selfie, so you click that. Then you flip the phone open, and now you're using the better camera, the main camera sensors for your selfies. You can still see what you're taking a picture of because you have the cover screen there. And honestly, this is a pretty great feature. Now, I don't really take selfies. I'm not much of a selfie person. But if you do like to take selfies, this is probably the phone for you. But enough of the camera, let's get back to the battery.
3 hours later.
I am now at 43% battery remaining. My screen on time is at almost 5 hours, and it's safe to say, I think I use this phone probably more than most people would. It's definitely more than I would normally use. I just really wanted to make an effort to use this phone for everything because I really wanted to see if I could kill this phone in one day. It's been more than 7 hours since the phone was removed from the charger, and it's close to having half of its battery life, sort of. So honestly, so far so good, I would say. It's definitely performing better so far than I thought it would. But there's still 43% battery remaining, so I still have a long way to go. It's now 6:19 p.m. and I'm at 20% battery remaining. I have 5 hours and 53 minutes of screen on time, but honestly for the last 3 hours, I wasn't really using the display all that much. I was really listening to music and podcasts, so not so much of the display was being used, but more of the audio. But that did give me a chance to really test out the speakers, and honestly, I can say the speakers are great. They were great on last year's Fold 3 as well. You have a stereo speaker setup and they get loud, they're clear, and it's great for listening or watching content on the Z Fold 4. So not only is the Z Fold 4 great for watching content because you have that larger inner display, but also because it has a nice speaker setup for this phone as well. But let's continue on and let's see how the battery continues to perform. And finally, it's 8:47 p.m. I took this screenshot. The phone had 1% battery remaining, and I'm at a total of 6 hours and 58 minutes of screen on time, and a total of 12 hours and 57 minutes since the phone was removed from the charger. Now the phone completely died just a few minutes later, so in my test I can say that the Galaxy Z Fold 4 got a total of about 13 hours of total usage, with about 7 hours of screen on time. That's pretty impressive, honestly, especially when you consider the battery capacity. I had my doubts, especially when it came to battery life, because the previous Fold phones always struggled with battery life, and this one had the same battery capacity, so I thought it was going to be about the same. But honestly, you can see the Z Fold 4 can easily get you through a full day with heavy usage, and probably get you through even to the second day with moderate normal usage. So if you were worried that battery life was going to continue to be bad on the Z Fold 4, well, I can happily say it's better than I thought it was going to be, and we're seeing some real improvements with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 processor. It's not the best I've ever used, but it's acceptable. Also keep in mind, if you go into your settings, then you go to battery and device care, then battery, then more battery settings, you'll see an option there for performance profile. It's set to standard, but if you change that to light, it will essentially clock down the processor to the same performance as last generation Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 processor. So you're still going to get good performance just like last generation's chipset, but you're going to get better battery performance because it's not using as much power. So you could technically even get better battery life than what I got and not really miss out on all the features that the Z Fold 4 offers. I actually included that tip in a top 10 tips and tricks video I made for the Galaxy Z Fold 4. I'll link that video in the description if you want to check out the other tips I mentioned as well. But so far, Galaxy Z Fold 4 has been really great. Battery life is better than I expected. And if you want to hear my other experiences with this phone so far, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our new videos. Hopefully this video helped you, and if it did, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.